my name's Nigel Blake. What we're looking to do today is basically clean a very old, tired looking patio. It's been down a number of years, and you can see not only does it look very old and tired, but it's also suffered various types of damage as well. You can see we've got some damage to the pointing here, and also there's been a lot of surface wear on the stone itself. Now, this would have been caused by a combination of exposure to the elements and also pressure washing. So, you know, what we can't afford to do today is just continue that process. The sort of aggressive pressure washing basically takes the protective skin off the paving. You can see how it exposed the aggregate there, and the more that protective skin is eradicated, not only does it lose colour, but it also retains a lot more moisture, and it's that moisture that the algae, these look like, it looks like dirt, but it's actually algae and lichens living on the stone itself, attaching itself to the stone, which makes it look very grubby. So our plan today is clean it in such a way that's effective without risking further damage to the stone or the pointing. So in front of me here, I've got pretty much everything I need for the project. We're going to start off with our patio clean extreme. We've got a couple of brooms and brushes for the stubborn areas. Application would be by watering can or sprayer, some basic safety wear, protective overalls, and sometimes it's required, not always, but a little pressure washer there as well, just to help with the rinsing off. So if we just look at a couple of the paving slabs here, they're very adjacent to each other. This one that's been protected over the years from the elements, still that protective original skin is in place, but just, you know, a short distance away where there's been more exposure to the elements, maybe more pressure washing, you can see how the surface aggregate is far more visible, and the algae and the lichens have taken hold, giving this really overall black finish to the stone itself. So as you can imagine, for the product to achieve what it needs to achieve, it's pretty strong stuff. And just like many products that you would buy for cleaning around the home, if you put it directly on a flower bed or on your lawn, it's going to do some damage. So the first thing to do before you start applying the product to your paving is basically saturate the surrounding areas with water. So the purpose of rinsing down the surrounding areas prior to using the product and after using the product is to guarantee that it will not harm any vegetation. If you can imagine any overspray or any runoff, if the area is saturated with water, any product reaching there will be so dilute that it cannot cause any damage. Now, prior to applying the product, it's important that I gently wet down the area. What this will do is enable the product to sit on top and not just soak into the substrate, so it will be far more effective. And also, whether I'm going to leave the product on there 1 hour, 3 hours, 5 hours or overnight, to a degree I need to just try and keep it a little bit wet. Okay, just try and keep it damp. I don't want to flood it because that would then dilute the product too much, but just slightly damp all the time is perfect. So I'm ready to start applying the products now. I've got my chemical resistant gloves, some old boots, protective clothing. If I'm going to use the sprayer, I will always wear a pair of goggles. You never know when a hose is going to burst or something untoward might happen. And if I found there was some strong odours, I've got my vapour mask as well. To give an idea of coverage, generally the product's very strong if it's mixed 50-50, so 5 litres becoming 10. If that's applied through a normal sprayer or maybe a watering can, you're generally looking to cover around 30 to 40 square metres of surface area. And again, if the contamination is not that bad, you can dilute it down a little bit more, maybe 2 to 1, creating 15 litres of product. And in that situation, you're going to get coverage of around 60 square metres. okay, but it's best to just do some tests and make sure the product's working for you before you decide on the mix that's right for you. This is a paving slab we identified as pretty much being as bad as it could get, where we've got the intense black spot, the white spot. So what I'm going to do is treat this slab here and then pass on a few little tips to help you get the best result possible from the product. So we'll start with just dampening it down. So on these particular bad areas, there's a few little tricks I can use. I can work the product directly in with a brush. I can leave it on there for longer, maybe 3 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours. I can reapply the product. I can use it neat. Remember, there's nothing in the product that can possibly damage the stone. And as you look at the really stubborn areas, maybe the white spot or the black spot, as you see them start to disperse and spread, that's telling you that they're breaking down and becoming easier to remove. So here we are about 3 hours later. We've applied 1 coat of the Patio Clean Extreme 50-50 mix. In an ideal scenario, we would have left the product on longer, but we're filming today, so time is not on our side. I would imagine once we rinse it down, we're going to see great results, but maybe not perfect results. And certainly, if it was my own patio, I would have been leaving the product on there longer, maybe reapplying, maybe using it stronger. But today, it's just giving you an idea of what can be achieved and the processes involved in using the material. Again, we've come back to the slab that we identified as probably the worst one on the property here. About 3 hours later, the only difference is this time I have on 2 occasions worked the product in with a brush just to try and create an extra effect there. So we'll rinse it off and see how we get on. And as you can see, the overall effect is very good. 90+% of all the algae and the lichens have disappeared, and certainly with 1 more application, everything would be gone. So here we are, a few hours later. We've done a little bit of work. We've used a little bit of material, not too much, but the results are very pleasing. It's still drying off, but it's significantly cleaner, with most of the algae, the lichens, all disappeared after 1 application. Now moving forward, my advice would be simply don't let it get as bad again, and just look upon a little bit of maintenance, maybe once a year, maybe twice a year. That maintenance would just be applying a little bit of one of these 2 materials, diluted down. With this one, maybe 1 in 5, 1 in 6. Same again with this one. Just apply it on the surface, leave it for with this one a couple of days, and then just let nature run its course. Or if you decide to use the Extreme again, just leave it on there, dilute it down for a couple of days, and then just rinse it off. Either way, both products will be effective, and that's an easy maintenance program to stop your patio getting as in bad condition again.